Oh wait, I forgot to take off. Hello. Sorry about that. Forgot to take off the good old thumbnail. So we'll give everybody a minute to come in here. I am actually needing to close some things out. So hello everybody. Welcome to my Manic Mondays, the movies and mental health show that we have here on the Indie Escape. Just gonna let everybody a minute to come on in. Everybody there, hello. Let me see how everything's going here. How's the audio coming in? I can't believe I still have a little bit of audio issues here and there. But I think we're good. Everything's checked. All the boxes are going, just like a helicopter or a pilot. We're checked everything's on, but it's too late. We should be good going. Hello, welcome to Side by Side. Side by Side. I got that on my time. That's one of my podcasts there. Welcome to my Manic Mondays. I'm your host, CJ Robles. This is the show where movies and mental health meet. So, this last week's episode, if you tuned in, it was a great episode. I learned a lot, and I thought it was just a great conversation just to have on the special effects artist Joe Castro. That was last week's episode. It was amazing. I learned a lot. I actually learned not just a lot from just Joe, just experience on movies and whatnot, but he had a ton of information. He also told me that if I find a certain magazine, it can help me get started with learning prosthetics and learning certain things to make monster movies. And he said I should have had this ready to go, sorry, but I have a utility weapon because I carry a utility. So 1 second, everybody, sorry about that. But I will say that he did tell me there is a magazine that he purchased when he was younger, and it helped him get started. I think he was like 12 years old. I was having to be a little late to the game, but here I am. Let me see, is this the magazine here? I believe I have it right. Is this the one he told me to get? It's right there. Cinemagic, bring your alien to life. So it says inside this magazine, it has the proper way to make a mask. So thank you, Joe Castro, for that. Going to learn how to make a mask with that. See how it goes. And that's what side by side. I got this stuck in my mouth. We've been doing advertising all day. And that's what my Manic Mondays. It's kind of an interactive vlog. I like to call it once in a while. But this is what I like about it. I'm learning from my guests. I learn from my network. It's such a great thing. And tonight, it's a great show. So I want to kind of get started. But I wanted to talk about our quote. You must see it, you must believe it, and then you must never stop working to make it happen. Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's a beautiful quote right there. If you just know his history from how he got here from Austria and making movies and whatnot. Yes, I know he has like other things that people make fun of him about, but this is my segue to our guest tonight because we're gonna talk about J.W. Colwell. We're gonna talk about his show coming up on Wednesday, Generation movie, but before that. I wanted to bring this up before I bring him in. I wanted to bring this up because Arnold Schwarzenegger. I like his motivational videos. I like his movie Pumping Iron. I think it's 1976 movie with him and Lou Ferrigno and Franco Columbo. And so the thing I like about that movie, Pumping Iron, is it has a lot of confidence in it, and there's a lot of guys being guys and competing against each other. So before I did this show right now, right before an hour ago, I did something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I haven't done it. So I've just kind of been practicing, and now I'm doing it. So I did I think it was a 4-minute set, a stand-up comedy. I went to an open mic that a friend of mine has. That's actually not too far from my house. It's actually really close. And I did a little stand-up comedy. Now, this is like my 5th time ever doing this, and I think that first time I went up was in 2013. And so I have just a little bit of I'm gonna try something out, trying something new. Let's see, because we'll see where that goes. But I think it's time. We're 5 minutes in the show. Let's get started. So we're going to have a new show on the Indie Escape. Premieres. It's a Generation movie. It's Wednesday, May 25th, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I have one of the co-hosts there with me tonight. I want to welcome to the Indie Escape family. I need everybody out there to give a loud and a great shout out here for Da-da-da. JW Colwell. How's it going, brother?
Hey, how you doing, man? I
Doing
didn't know you
well.
were doing stand up before I got here tonight.
I
That's
try.
that's tense.
That's tense.
That's tense.
I think.
Stand up is like you're on an ocean and there's very little like chance of finding an island. It's
I
you're by yourself.
honestly, that's like the best way you can. I felt like I was out in the middle of nowhere tonight, and
I
I
prefer
was.
to do improv.
I well,
Improv, you have other people who can sync with you.
I am
That's
an
the
improv.
best way to go.
I'm an improv actor, so that's where I kind of started, and I'm like, well, I gotta challenge myself a little bit more. Let's see, the internet is since 2020 it's always been negative, but it got super negative in 2020, and I was just kind of like, you know what? If I'm gonna post stuff on there, I want it to be positive. I want it to be good things, and it's such a
Wow,
challenge.
so you're swimming up both streams.
Yeah,
You're
so
doing you're doing stand up by yourself and you're trying to be positive to the internet. Get out of here, CJ.
I
Just get out of here. What are you doing?
tried too hard there, man.
So you said you're an improvise. You improvised. Where did you do that? That's an
I
interesting.
actually at the so my background goes back to like junior high where I did like theater performances, and then in high school I got part of the AV club, and that's where it just kind of took off. And then I have my hiatus there, the chunk of it. But in 2019, I actually started in 2013. I was doing I do the 48-hour film projects. That's when you make a movie in 48
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah. No. Perfect.
So I've been doing those, and the last two I did, I was like, my acting sucks so bad that what the hell is wrong with me? And then I had Alec Reese. I asked him to come out in one of the movies with me, and he like lapped me with his acting like circles. He was kicking my ass, and I finally had a one-on-one with him. I was like, dude, why are you so good? Like, I played basketball, and I trained for basketball. I didn't know you can train for acting. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh
like
no. Okay. So you've done some improvisation. Because we in Scranton. I'm from Scranton originally. I live in Florida now. We had a gentleman who came from Second City who came and taught improv in our city. So I learned from somebody who was actually on Second City stage,
yeah,
was
so
part of the traveling troupe of Second City performers.
that's all. Yeah,
And
no, I know
so
them.
I love improv. I think improv is an amazing science and can teach you how to do a great many things, acting and writing.
No, exactly. So I did the whole day in 2019. They had a whole course. They had the whole like 5 classes. So I took all the improv classes, and I was getting ready to just get more on stage. And I started seeing my acting getting better. And then we got paused in 2020. And then last year,
Everyone got paused,
yeah.
CJ.
So that's what I'm saying. We got
Literally, just pause,
that's why I
like the
said
giant pause button,
emphasis of
like with
we.
Staples.
I didn't say
Pause.
I. What I'm saying is, we all got paused, and so I was like, all right. And then the theater was hiring. They're like, you want to come work? And like for a year, I've been doing the tech, and it's just been calling out to me. And now I'm like, you know what? I like challenges. Let's do this one. But improv, I've been trained by a lot of people from Second City. Not the ones from like SNL or anything, but other students that I've graduated
Yeah,
from over there, and I can tell a difference. Like there's such a difference with some of the actors. Like if y'all, I'm throwing a shout out here, Anthony Ellison. If y'all see him in Austin and you see his name on any billboard, go check him out. He's one of the best improvers I've seen. Like I've seen a lot of improvisation, and they're all good, but he sticks out a lot.
yeah.
Oh, what?
The person Chris Barnes, very talented Second City performer and really a great teacher. So, but yeah, I see Joe is chatting up, and so is Brandon. Everybody's getting in tonight.
We're hanging in. Good
We're
evening,
like,
gentlemen.
I'm waiting for the hazing to start. Just
No, we're
I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm just kind of like I'm here, okay. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, yeah. You've been around the block with us. For those who don't know, I did an end of the night episode, and we had JW come in, and he was schooling us on the Oscars, and I liked that episode because you literally called out everybody that was gonna win, like right before they won it, like when I do gambling, and I'm like pick six, and I just throw it out there. I'm guessing a football game, I get a pick six. You actually do. There's gonna be a pick six right here. I was like, holy crap. So we go, Brandon
Well, yeah.
Brooks.
If you look at my background. So up there on the wall, and this is like this is the same set I do for every show. It's just my toy aisle and but that's my dad. My dad was ran a movie theater my entire life. So I grew up in a movie theater. That article is about him picking Network over Rocky. So he got it wrong. I'm the next generation, so I try to get as many right as I can. But that whole article is about me and like right after I was born. So it's kind of in the bones.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It's in your DNA and your dinner. Like
Yeah, it's the dinner. Yes,
the
that's a
dinner.
good way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. Hey, you have that. I sadly nostalgia has me with the Dallas Cowboys. I can't help that. It's like I try not to. I can't. It's just the worst nostalgia ever. Like I got tired of the nauseating and the headaches of watching a football game of a Cowboys football game, and I realized I was raised around this. I can't help it.
I'm sorry.
That
I'm a
sucks.
Raiders fan. I've been a Raiders fan since 1980 Super Bowl. I'll be a Raiders fan until I die. I'll be buried in jerseys. I have enough jerseys to be buried in. I like the colors. I like what the team stands for. I like rugged individualism. So.
I like, and I think I would ask like, what do you think about the Vegas change? But Oakland has changed so many times. Like,
well, Oakland was one of the worst stadiums in the country. We got one of the best stadiums in the country now. We can attract people like Devontae Adams now.
Oh yeah,
we can pay them to be able to play. There's no income tax in Vegas. I'm ecstatic about Vegas, but don't get me started on that.
Well, no, I'm just saying this is what I like about you. You're very well rounded. I could go anywhere with you. This is so cool.
That's definitely true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, and it's like, I mean, it's
you don't like wrestling, do you? I like wrestling too.
Oh no, I'm vintage wrestling. I think after like 2008ish, I just stopped following.
No, I can't stop. It's like a bad addiction. It's like meth. You just can't give it up.
What's theater? It's like, it's theater, and I'll be honest with you. Growing up, I did not know Jake the Snake Roberts was a villain. I didn't see him like that. I never saw him as a villain.
You didn't feel the guy coming out and throwing a snake at people was a bad guy?
No, it wasn't, because the way I was raised, it just kind of like, to me, that's an hombre.
He was always up against like super good guys though.
Yeah, and then even I mean, I don't know what you call Macho Man.
He poisoned the Ultimate Warrior, CJ.
And Ultimate Warrior.
The Ultimate Warrior and the Undertaker. He poisoned both of them. Remember, like there was a whole vignette where the Undertaker was, or not the Undertaker, the Ultimate Warrior was a glass window and there were snakes, and he opened up the box and he put his hand in the box and he got.
Dude, or also he had the
like Saw, CJ.
Hey, but I mean, Ultimate Warrior was my favorite wrestler until he got banned for using substance. But then he came back, and I'm like, well, it makes it better. I don't know. I'm pro the. I mean, I want to put it in my
and Jake the Snake Roberts.
I like excitement. I like excitement there.
I gotcha.
Yeah, let's see. JW, did you call out the Oscar slap heard around the world?
No, I actually, in all honesty, Brandon, thought it was fake.
So did I.
We all thought it was fake, to be honest. And then every one of us that was on the show happened to look up and just, it's not fake. Holy Nike, it's not really fake. Oh my God. And then, but I did say he was going to win.
Yeah, you did. You got that. And it was. We were watching it, and you look. I remember you looking up and being like, "Oh, Will Smith just smacked Chris Rock," and we're like, "What?" Like you're giving us a play-by-play.
Yeah, who knew that? Like we'd be talking about it for a month later.
Yeah,
we'd still be talking about it.
Well, then, okay, and then
we're still kind of talking about it because it's kind of rippled out a little bit in the idea that somehow people are getting the wrong idea that they can go on stage with performers, and we had the guy attack Dave Chappelle. Obviously for whatever is going on with Chappelle, and then just various little things that are happening around the country where people are being attacked, and it's like, you're not Will Smith. You're not going to be able to just walk home or go to the Oscar party after. Like, you're going to get arrested.
Yeah.
You're not Will Smith. But Oscar night was pretty cool, except for that. Like, the interesting thing about Oscar night for me was that it completely overshadowed a really great movie called Coda, which is all about, child that lives with deaf parents. And it's this really special, kind of amazing, heartwarming kind of a movie you don't get that often anymore. And, it's got all kinds of positive vibes, all kinds of good things going on, and then some negativity. Everything about the Oscars negativity. The ratings are down, and Will Smith is slapping people, and like Will Smith, good guy America. Speaking
Yeah.
of Jake the Snake, it was a Jake the Snake heel turn. It was like a heel turn from Will Smith, and like most people think it was like the evil manager, right? His wife was like an evil manager from WWE days in the '80s. You know,
Yeah.
she's like leading him down the wrong path. So now he
Yeah.
doesn't get work.
Yeah, and even like that, like I felt like I remember Chris Rock had disrespected Jada Pinkett like before that, like a year ago or something, or like 2 years ago when they said he said a joke like she had said something like, "Oh,
Far worse than the Propecia joke. It was
yeah,
about their open marriage.
yeah,
It
yeah."
was
It's
like it was rude. It was very rude.
well, I was also saying about, but he had said something about like you didn't get invited to the Oscars. Like she was like they don't allow, and then he was like you didn't get invited. That's why. And then now that they're there, I saw like I'm
Yeah,
like, and it just seems kind of like, and being a guy that was in a relationship where the other was totally, controlling, being controlling. I can see Will Smith, and it's just like, man. But think about it that way. I'd like seeing was it the resurrection of the resurgence of Jake the Snake Roberts. That documentary was so good. It was such a, and then like the DDP, and then you even had Scott Hall, R.I.P. He was like, it shows you their interaction. Like that whole documentary, like really like
well,
made
that
me feel.
DDP yogurt's saving so many wrestlers from our youth.
And
They've gone to him and been like they've been not fixed, but like as best they could to be able to go back out into the world and function. You know what I mean? Which is a great
yeah,
thing.
I get excited when I see a wrestler at the conventions, man, because it's like to me they're a rare breed, and it's like I see like
Very few people. It's funny. Everybody thinks that everybody can do what they do, and it's like they're entertainers, they're storytellers, and they're also incredibly physically gifted. So it's like
it's a lot.
it's a lot.
And that's why I say, because if you see an older wrestler, you're just like, I'm happy that you're here, because it's like you don't get past like 57, 58.
Yeah,
It's like,
they definitely go faster than at least the '80s ones did.
yeah,
Go much faster. Although recently we've kind of had like a wellness and being able, like kind of like your show, right? The idea of mental health awareness and wellness and being able to kind of incorporate that into a lifestyle. It's a little bit hectic. You're not at home a lot. You're on the road,
yeah.
250 days a year. So
But
it's but that's part of it. Everything's little pieces.
and then like Chris Benoit, his finishing move is a flying headbutt, and then like it might be CTE involved there. Like that's like
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Like one of the guys that I'm trying to think of the kid's name, Chris Nowinski. He was a wrestler. He was like a mediocre wrestler in the '90s and early 2000s. He actually did a bunch of the things where they went and they did the brain trauma, where they took the brain scans and did the CTE scans to see where people were at. And, they were saying cognitively that Benoit at the time of his death, and I'm not saying it was okay, because where it was at, like what he did, like the amount of chaos he caused at the end, including taking his own life. But he had the cognitive functioning of a 4-year-old. Like he was completely gone that weekend when he didn't show up, and they found everything happened at his house. So it's like, not saying it's okay. I'm just saying he took a lot of chair shots, and took a lot of damage to the head. And
well, he was extreme.
Terrible.
Right now, when you just said the headshot to the head, he was one of those guys that took a chair to the face. That
Yeah.
was his thing.
That was commonplace. Like if you watch like Beyond the Mat or any of the
Yeah.
like that documentary, which documents one of the Mankind Rock matches, that was an I Quit match where there was 21 chair shots. Mick Foley, he did have he had the Mankind kind of like leather thing, but like there was 21 chair shots, and his kids were in the front row. Like they had to take his kids out, like
Yeah.
they were worried about daddy. And that was the match that ended surreptitiously with The Rock running the audio of
I quit.
Mankind saying "I quit" on video.
That's so. Yeah, because Mankind would never say that. But that was the Mankind. Mick Foley was one of the first wrestlers that switched me, because I was a huge Rocky Maivia fan when he came out. But then he kind of he went nation domination. He started getting stronger, and then he had this battle with Mick Foley all the time, and Mick would always beat The Rock, or he'd get him in the the mandible
Mandible
claw.
claw.
He'd give him the mandible claw, and he'd constantly win. And I'd just be like, man, that guy always kicks his ass. And then I just started seeing him more and more as like a human being and more of like a tortured soul kind of thing. And I was like, dude, Mick Foley is the shit. And I've got to meet him in real life.
A bunch of different personas.
Yeah.
A huge fan of Santa Claus. If you look at
Yes.
like that's a real true statement. He champions Santa Claus all over the country, 365 days a year. He's in documentaries about Santa Claus. He knows all about Santa Claus. He knows all about the legend of Santa Claus. He's an incredible person. Does a lot of work for RAINN as well with regards to taking care of abuse victims of sexual abuse. So he's actually a well-rounded guy. But it's an interesting parallel, like movies and wrestling and how we were raised. Like we're getting into the show we're doing on Wednesday nights starting this week, and it's all about coming together, right? So the tagline for the show, if you had a tagline, the old time movie poster tagline, it's not Gen X, Y, or Z, Generation Movie. Come in, learn about one of the movies that you might have grown up with that you might love. This week is Conan the Barbarian, and I will give you a brief. I'll give you a scoop. Conan is movie number 1. We're going through all of the summer of '82 because that's one of the greatest movie summers ever. I mean, the films are off the charts. Like, I was looking at it. I have my list here.
Oh, there it is.
I mean, yeah, the list, on yellow paper, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a scoop on the second movie we're doing. It's not as well known as Conan, certainly, but the scoop is there's a movie called Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
Yes.
It is an amazing Steve Martin film from 1982, directed by the fantastic Carl Reiner, one of the greatest living legend comedians of all time. It's the movie we're going to do next week. And basically, what we're going to do in the show is basically look at a movie when it came out, how it was produced, how it did at the box office. We're going to talk about how we basically, how it was viewed when it came out, and then how it's viewed now, and what came of the franchise, what came of it. So, Conan tidbits, interesting Conan facts. And this is, we're going to talk about it on the show, but something for you and the people who are watching the show tonight. For example, Schwarzenegger doesn't talk for the first 25 minutes or the last 25 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Now, the reason that happens is because they filmed the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie first, all the action sequences, so that the person that was training Schwarzenegger how to talk on camera had enough time in Spain to teach him how to talk, to get him better on camera and with talking. So the first 25 minutes of the movie doesn't speak. Last 25 minutes of the movie doesn't speak. Everything in the middle was filmed after the fact, out of sequence, so that he could get better at talking on camera.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing. And like where things come from with regards to Schwarzenegger and like what's happened with that franchise. These are all things that are going to, every episode, we're going to try to hit all the main factors, how something's produced, how it gets where it is, what critics thought about it then, what critics think about it now.
Yeah.
Think about Summer of '82, a movie like The Thing.
Oh yeah. It got lost to E.T., right?
It got Summer of '82 was insane. Summer of '82 was the reason I came up with this idea and talked to Joe about doing it on the network after the Oscar show on End of the Night. I just had this idea about Summer of '82. It's one of the quintessential '80s summers. It's one of the summers where it was magic. The Conan. Excuse me, I'm a little under the weather. Bear with me.
That's okay. No,
Star Trek 2, E.T., Poltergeist, Blade Runner, Thing, Tron.
Damn.
So many movies that came out that summer,
And and those are like the envelope pushers. Those are really strong movies.
Well, they're movies that are envelope pushers now.
Yeah, that's true.
But The Thing was hated. Blade Runner, hated.
God, it's a yeah.
Bombed at the box office. Both bombed at the box office. Huge. Now E.T. is still beloved, but that's the thing. What we're gonna do in Generation Movie is talk about history. We're gonna be like one of those cool shows that does a deep dive on something you really love. And I don't know about you, how you feel about Conan or how anybody feels about Conan, but it's the funny thing about Conan in looking at it, and we're going to talk about this. It is the fundamental sword and sorcery pick, even today. Like you can't. There's nothing. It had a bunch of crazy things that came out and all this other stuff, but that's what the show is going to be about. It's going to be about where it stood when it came out, where it stands now. We're going to do that with all the great movies from '82, and we're going to plow along and see where other movies we hit in the '80s and maybe even the '90s, and just come up and just talk movies and have a good time and kind of go into deep dive of what happened, what went wrong, what went right, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and then I took I like taking like combat like acting classes and like sword stuff, and they use Conan. The way he holds the sword, it's meant to protect him as well and throw. It was like the way somebody showed me how to use that big sword. I was like, damn. And Schwarzenegger learned how to use that. It's also like, you're about Schwarzenegger not being able to speak. It was also because he was in this movie called Hercules in New York. Do you remember this one?
Yeah, he's dubbed. He's dubbed for most of it.
Aye.
He's not even called Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh,
Arnold Strong.
There it is. Yeah, there it is right there. Arnold Strong. How's he go? Because he just goes like that. You stay over there. I'll be picking everything up right now. And he's just like, what? What is going on?
Yeah, he didn't have like Pumping Iron was the beginning of him being on camera and stuff, but he was never really
acting.
Well, he wasn't acting in that certainly, but he wasn't as confident in his body as he was in his talking voice. So, when John Milius comes on and they start doing it, it's a real interesting kind of like the beginnings of a superstar. Like, we're going to, this week, you're going to hear a lot of talk about superstars. You're going to hear a lot of talk about what a movie star is. You're going to hear, like, this is the week that's pegged for this summer where you're going to hear movie star, box office, 36-year sequel. Who the hell can pull that shit off?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, crazy shit. Like, you're going to hear all kinds of crazy stuff this week about Tom Cruise, Top Gun Maverick, right? And Schwarzenegger's in the same boat. He hasn't had a major hit like this. Cruise, however, has kept plugging along. And I was telling you before, we were talking in the green room, Tom Cruise is about to pull it off twice. He's about to pull off a major hit sequel 25 to 30 years apart for the second time, which is astounding. It's like, you can't do it. It's really hard to pull off. I mean, somebody as great as Harrison Ford couldn't even pull it off. A Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're going to be talking about this all week. And one of the interesting things when you're looking at something like Conan, where you're like, it's building pieces, and then you like somebody like Steve Martin with Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, or how Blade Runners, how Poltergeist, or how E.T., how all these movies are made and how they are viewed now is a great reminder of what films are capable of, and also what you aspire to be. Like, you watch a movie that's on Netflix, you watch the Ryan, not Ryan,
Ryan
Reynolds? Yeah, you could watch the Ryan Reynolds movie that just came out, right? They're going for Amblin. They're the Adam Project.
Oh yeah, I loved it. Oh, that was good.
It's a great movie. It's fantastic. But what are they going for in that? They're going for 80s Amblin vibe. It's family's a little bit broken, mother's struggling, kids falling in the cracks, but he's special, right? Which is all about all the Spielberg vibe. Every Spielberg vibe involves like his broken home, involves him, his characters kind of branching out are all bigger than life, right? E.T., Indiana Jones, Jaws, like everything is bigger than life. Because he came from a home where, his dad wasn't around, his mom, they had a divorce, bitter divorce.
Yeah.
We're gonna get that later in the year, right? We're gonna get a look into that, what that's like, when Meet the Fablemans comes out, which is his semi-autobiography movie, which is coming out.
What's it called?
Yeah. I think it's Meet the Fablemans. The Fablemans. Hold on.
And that's Spielberg's like autobiography.
Yeah, basically. Hold on. I'll just look up Spielberg.
Let's
Give me a
go.
second.
I got you. I just want to show anybody watching because I did watch Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid like 2 or 3 years ago, and it's so good.
Interesting that you watched that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I was like,
It's
oh,
a wild movie. It's a wild. It's
I got it.
incredible. It is very high concept and very hard to pull off. And I can't wait to talk about it next week. It is one of those movies where you're either all in or you're all out, and it's it's very much, you know, you have to the Fablemans. It's just called the Fablemans.
Fablemans. Okay. Yeah.
It's just called the Fablemans. It's coming out at the end of 2022. It's written by Tony Kushner and Steve Spielberg, Michelle Williams, Seth Rogen, Paul Dano.
Oh
Great,
wow.
but the idea that the Adam Project, if you watch the Adam Project, and you can have a perfectly good time watching the Adam Project, but someone like me watches the Adam Project, and I'm still going for that first touch of flavor from 1982 with E.T. Right?
Yeah.
The family in trouble, dad's gone away. In E.T. they're divorced, and Adam Project, dad's passed away, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So they all tie in, and I think when you look at older movies, you can figure out, basically where we are. Like Conan has a lot of ties to something that we're going to talk about. That's a very popular franchise, but they're the only two franchises that matter in sword and sorcery stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this weird. It's because we haven't had one. We haven't had we've had a Conan reboot with Momoa, but it was terrible.
Yeah.
And it would so it's and there's always what's going to happen next. So, but Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid's up next. Star Trek 2 is coming up.
Yeah, I love Star
The
Trek.
greatest Star Trek movie.
Also,
E.T. Poltergeist.
Conan, you have Conan the Barbarian, and then you had like in the 19 when you had Kevin Sorbo do like Khan or something like that, and it was very similar.
Yeah,
I think it was
everything that one of the things we're going to talk about is the amount of problems it was to produce anything on par.
Yes.
To live up to it.
Yeah.
Right? And the budgets was ridiculous. There's all kinds of cool things. I want everybody to watch the show though, so I don't.
Yeah. We'll save. We'll save some.
But it's one of those things where I think movies, when we talk about generation movie, we're talking about people like you, me, my co-host Rich Dries, who does Film Buff Online. We grew up in movie theaters. That's where we were happy, and we had friends, and we would go with friends to the movies, and it's quiet light, 2 hours in the dark with your friends or family members, and you're watching the best cave paintings ever put on this earth, right? They're the best artists. They're basically cave paintings come to life where we're telling stories and finding heroes, and I just think it's one of the few places where we don't fight.
No, you're right.
Marvel movie opens, everybody goes. Doesn't matter what political party you are. Doesn't matter what generation you are. You're at the Marvel movie. Jurassic Park's gonna open. Jurassic World's gonna open in a couple weeks. Talking about your son being very excited, right?
Yeah.
These are movies that are cultural touchstone events. Like the first time, you have a 4-year-old, right? It was 4, right? So you're gonna have a moment where he gets to go to his first Thursday night premiere, right? Where everybody's crazy, dressed up. These are touchstone moments that movies give us that are gifts. They're absolute gifts. And I was given them when I was a kid. And one of the things I want people to come watch the show, we're going to tell you a bunch of cool things about a movie you may love, but we're also going to tie it into where you're at today, what we're watching, how we're watching it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's an incredible kind of, it's the one industry that America has consistently produced that the entire world consumes.
Yeah, that's where we kick ass. That's like in movies, we kick ass in movies.
Everybody wants our movies, right?
Yeah.
Everybody
they do. I mean,
it's the one commodity that never falters. Even during a pandemic, it didn't falter. With theaters closing, opening, all based on what the product was, whatever was coming out. How good is the product? And There are so many places where we get movies today, like we have, streaming, but everything is kind of based in, like for me, it's based in the past.
Yeah.
So like everybody comes out this week and everybody's like, "Oh, Chip 'n Dale's great. Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers fantastic." But it's Who Framed Roger Rabbit too, right? I mean,
I saw it, and
it's
yeah,
it's
I
one
got
movie.
it. I saw it the other day.
It's a fun movie, but
It's a
it's Who Framed Roger Rabbit too.
Yeah, and when it was the Lonely Island guys, I was like, okay, but it felt they went a little too Disney with it. I was like, these guys need to go Lonely Island with it. Like it feels a little like
I don't know that they went to Disney. I mean, they got away with a lot of stuff that I don't think you think is going to get away with in a Disney
okay,
movie.
okay, yeah,
I,
they
I,
do they do have a
yeah,
lot of open.
but the same thing happened with Who Framed Roger Rabbit, right? 1988, Who Framed Roger Rabbit drops. You got Bugs Bunny on screen with Mickey Mouse for the first time ever. It's it's all tied in, and the great things, the things that are cultural touchstones. I hear people complain all the time about legacy reboots and reboots in general, right?
Yeah,
I'm not a big particular fan of. I am a particular fan of legacy sequels right now because I think we can make them solidly and still honor the original product. Like Ghostbusters Afterlife is a perfect example,
oh god, it's awesome. Yeah,
right? It has an irreverence for the first one that is way up high, and it's made by the same filmmakers. Right before Ivan Reitman died, he's
Best
working with
way.
his son, getting it all right, and it has like a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. It has great performances, so you can make a legacy sequel great, and you can come up with ways to do it. Reboots are a little bit tougher, and I was thinking about it. We haven't talked about this or anything, but if you're thinking about reboots, remake bad movies,
True.
remake movies that were terrible, and because stay away from the good movies, because the good movies are really hard to replicate. You've had very few reboots or legacy sequels or anything that have been as good as the originals. There's like, if you count them on one hand,
Yeah. No, you're
you know
right.
what
You
I
have to,
mean?
I've had the discussion with myself too. Like, why would you touch this one? Don't do this one. Like, I mean, even I was listening to your podcast recently, the Loud and Nerdy. I was there's your buddy.
Yeah,
And
it's really fun. I do it occasionally with Rich Reeves. The main co-host is a kid named Paul Spratt. He's not really a kid. He's a young adult. He's younger than I am, so he's a
yeah,
kid. Everybody's a kid. But he's a comedian out of New York, and it's like two different styles.
yeah,
Rich and I are very similar. So that's why Rich and I are going to do this other show on here.
yeah,
Because we have very similar movie tastes, and we have very similar, like, how do we break things down? How do we get it going? But Loud and Nerdy is a show that appears. It's Wednesday nights at 8. We've been doing it for a long time. We started it. It actually started in a lobby of a movie theater on opening night of Skyfall.
okay,
So we had a podcast set up in a theater lobby with people walking in and out and just yelling and screaming, all kinds of cool things there. And basically, we did Bond villains, Bond girls, and Bond cars.
oh, that's the best part of Bond movies.
Yeah, well, I'm pro villain in Bond movies. I'm always like, they always have such good ideas for the most part, and then they're cast aside by Bond. He ruins everything. No, I'm just kidding, CJ. I'm just joking. You're much too positive for me. Like I every once in a while I'm glass half empty, and I don't mean to be. I just am because I've been on the planet longer. So it's
Yeah, you're
but
realist.
um but Loud and Nerdy is a really good time. We've worked it long and hard. We during the pandemic, what happened was we had stopped for a while because Paul and I had went separate ways. He's in New York, I'm in Florida, and what happened was I got an email during the pandemic, like right after my wife had gotten COVID, and it was a serious time in my life. But we got we got an email that said the site was shutting down, the page was shutting down,
Okay.
and so I texted him and was like, "We have nothing to do. We should do the show every week."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, that's a great idea." And we came up with different things. We did movie motivation, which is we had people that we knew in our real lives who would come on and do a movie motivation speech, and Paul would try to guess what it was from. And it became like this game where people were trying to beat him at it. And we had people coming on. We had people who did Tombstone. We had people who did Animal House. We had people who
Yeah.
did all these different movies and just things that kept them going. And it was all movie based or pop culture based TV shows or stuff they really loved. And it was really kind of endearing because we had people come on. They weren't prepping for it or they weren't practicing. It was just them looking at something they really loved from a movie or television show and just bawling out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I also like the title of Generation Movie because it's like when you watch it, is how is it where does it relate to you? Like with T2, dude, that movie is like ingrained in my head because I remember watching that movie with my dad. I don't have a lot of great memories with him, but that's and he's still around, you know. But I remember what my dad likes movies, and I remember being like in I think was it like I was in first grade, second grade. I just remember just looking up and waiting in that line. Remember we had to be in line for like at least 30, 40 minutes, which I was like, whoa, what is this? And I remember just looking up.
Oh, the days when you had to wait in line before we had tickets that you could just say, "Hey, that's my seat. Get the hell up and move." And now it's much easier. Like waiting in line for Star Wars movies or waiting in line for something like T2 in 91, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. That's an amazing dad memory. Like my dad passed away in 2000, so all these movies that I've watched with him, like everything, like I've watched things from like, 30s on, you know what I mean? Like, so I come to it with a huge swath of things I love. And, I can reference things like, Lawrence of Arabia, Guns of Navarone, movies where people, before people, you're a young guy, right?
Yeah.
So like not everybody's seen Lawrence of Arabia, but everybody should, you know what I mean? Like it's one of those movies. It is a perfect performance by Peter O'Toole. It's got the music by Maurice Jarre. It's beautiful. David Lean's cinematography. Everything about it is epic and fun. And my dad took me to see it in New York at 70 millimeter.
Damn.
Beautiful, right? And you're talking about your dad, right? T2. My two best dad stories. So in 87, I was dating myself here, CJ. So got to be careful with these kind of like facts that you throw out to people. In 87, I was 13 years old, 13. And basically I had the two best. I had two of the best movie-going experiences with my father. I've had a lot of them, but two of the very absolute best. In 87 day, he was off. My dad called it a busman's holiday because I made him go to the movies. Because he called it a busman's holiday. The idea of like guys who used to run buses, and then they would get on the buses themselves, and it would be a busman's holiday.
Oh wow!
And so he used it when he would go to the movies on days when he was off after running a theater all week. He'd be like, "This is a busman's holiday. This is ridiculous. You're making me do this." But we went to at 1:00 at the Viewmont Mall, which is an old theater in Scranton, Pennsylvania. We went to a 1:00 show of Predator. We got on the bus because my dad didn't drive. We got on the bus, went downtown, and saw The Untouchables. So I saw Predator and The Untouchables in the same day with my dad.
Yeah.
I wanted to see Predator because I was a Schwarzenegger guy. My dad wanted to see The Untouchables. I had no interest in The Untouchables. None. And he's like, "You're going to like the movie. It's a gangster movie. It's going to be amazing." And I'm like, and to this day, I would fight with him. I fought with him about it. I'm like, Dad, we can just go see Predator. Everything will be fine.
Yeah.
No, we're going to go see both. Saw both of them. Amazing. Untouchable. We come out of The Untouchables. De Palma, Kevin Costner, Sean Connery chewing on scenery. Just, action galore. Frank Nitti going off a goddamn building.
Oh, God.
Beautiful. And it's just visceral. And Predator in the same day.
God.
That same summer, 87, we took a busman's holiday again. Went to a drive-in, Circle Drive-In, famous drive-in in Scranton, Pennsylvania, one of the great drive-ins in the country. Only 500 left, so 500 to 800 left, give or take. Circle Drive-In's the drive-in I always talk about when I've seen all the things. But we saw RoboCop and Lethal Weapon on a double feature.
Too much action there, brother.
No, perfect amount of action, CJ. Absolute perfect amount of action. What do you mean? Crazy action, crazy sci-fi action, and arguably with, even though Mel's like been off his rocker for a while, arguably one of the greatest action films ever made, right? Lethal Weapon, the original, although Lethal Weapon 2.
You got an Australian accent to Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon 1, and you get the shoulder break. Like he's
The
just
shoulder break isn't until 2.
oh, so
Shoulder break
two.
is
That's right.
2.
That's right.
He's 11 too because he has to because they throw him into the river
Yeah.
with the nice South
Oh,
African girl.
and then you see her dead there, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh.
yeah, yeah.
One
Yeah,
thing I
that's
do
the
like
show.
about there's a movie called Loaded Weapon. It's the
It's a
mockumentary. They
parody.
make the parody, and they have that scene where in Lethal Weapon 2 where Mel Gibson, they throw him in the water or whatever. They have the same scene where they blow up the house, but Bruce Willis comes out and he's like, "Wrong house! It's the one next door." He's like, "Oh, my bad." They go. So double feature. I do have a dad double feature movie, and this might be a thing for me to look into. I'm from the border, and our movie theater went from the cinema movies like 3 to the cinema movies 8. So that
Oh,
summer,
okay.
that summer they had to shut down the theater, so we had to go to the smaller cities around. And where Mr. Matthew McConaughey, he's from Uvalde, Texas. Matthew McConaughey, he's little cities not too far away from me. So we
All
used to
right,
go.
all right, all right.
All right,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
We used to go there, and I went there. We went there to watch Independence Day. And we were like, Dad, this is like our conversation is all gonna twine in together with Will Smith, and like we're gonna bring Goldblum.
Oh, wait, when you finish your Independence Day story, I'm gonna give you an Independence Day story that's gonna blow your mind. Go ahead.
All right, so check this out. It was real simple. We went to go watch it. It was at 2 o'clock. We went to watch Independence Day, and then when we were coming out, we are like, "Oh my God, so good movie!" And we turn around, and once again, the first time I saw T2, I saw Schwarzenegger on the motorcycle, and it said Terminator 2: Judgment Day. This one was Eraser. And it said, "You're prepared to be erased." And then we look at my dad, we look at the poster, we look back at my dad. And my dad's like, "All right, we're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch this one." Like he didn't even hesitate. He's like, "We're watching it." So we literally we didn't even leave the lobby. We just turned around, bought the tickets, and went right back into the movie theater.
Eraser's a terrifying movie. That alligator sequence is
Oh yeah,
the crocodile sequence that
yeah.
that scares me to this day. I have nightmares about that.
Oh wow.
Okay, so Independence Day, quick. Good story, good dad story. My dad was out for a long while. He was out of the business, but one of the guys that he had hired and worked as an usher for him ended up running a very big theater in Philadelphia. So when my dad came around to be getting hired, the guy that he had hired and worked for him had talked my dad's boss into hiring him. He invited him. We have a premiere screening. Come down. You'll meet some Fox executives. I can't tell you what the movie is, but come down. We'll do dinner the night before. You can pick whatever movie you want to see the night before, and then we'll go to the screening on Saturday morning. And my dad's like, I don't know. So I talked my good friend Ren into driving us. We got a hotel room. It was great. We got drunk and ate steaks with this guy that my dad had hired when he was a kid, right? And we saw The Rock that night.
Oh God.
So we saw The Rock. Right? And Nicolas Cage, Sean Connery went back to our hotel full of beer and steak and got up the next morning, and we walk in and it's a pre-screening of Independence Day.
Oh.
Got the Independence Day without all the special effects. It also had the Star Wars trailer on it for the really great Star Wars trailer where they had the little box TV with the VHS player on top of it. And it's like for years you've seen it this way.
That's right.
And it was like Star Wars playing on a thing, and then they opened it, expanded out, and it was like on the big screen. See it this way, special editions, when the special editions came out. So I got to see Independence Day early, which was incredible. But those are the kind of things. Those are touchstone events in your life and touchstone events in my life where very hard to compete with, but you're constantly trying to get it. To get that, you're going to have it with your kid. I have it with the 2 little nephews I live with. We took them to see Sonic. They're huge Sonic fans. It's the first movie they sat through. Sonic 2 is the first movie they sat all the way through and didn't pester about going to the lobby to get something or go to the lobby to go to the bathroom.
Oh, they're hooked.
And they both made it through without any problems, Lord willing, knock on wood, right?
Yeah.
And basically, Sonic 2 is the first movie that, when I get older with them, I'm going to tell them the first movie they ever made it through without having to go to the bathroom was Sonic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My little brother's first movie was King Kong, which was incredible. He got through the entire movie 3 hours. First time he didn't use the bathroom. Amazing. So these are good stories.
I have I don't know if this is like a horrible joke or whatnot, but it's because my brother. So my younger brother is gay. And I watched a lot of movies with him that were like in the gay world, but we watched a lot of Diane Keaton movies, like First Wife Club and then like Annie. We just watched, and then as a little kid, I got infatuated with Diane Keaton, and I was a huge Michael.
Diane Keaton was Annie Hall, for God's sake.
I know, so Annie Hall. I was like, I fell in love with her. It was just funny because my brother would be like, "You want to watch this movie?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to watch the Diane Keaton, Goldie Hawn,
Keaton movie. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good, dude. I'm good." And he would just be kind of like, "Well," and I don't. He's my little brother. I didn't care. I was like, "Whatever, we'll watch whatever you want to watch." So I'd watch it, and I'd be like, "Oh my god, I really have like a thing for Diane Keaton." Because when I got older, I went, "Was she in?" Because I say so, and she's already an older woman. I was like, "Yeah, you tell him." I was just, God. But it's like it's some things if I would have been open to, I see him in like my brother and I like every movie that's kind of like what's the other one with Bruce Willis? Death Becomes Her. Like him and
Death Becomes Her was a great movie. Robert Zemeckis.
Yes, beautiful movie. We quote that movie like
a
crazy.
Very bitchy movie though.
yes.
It's got a very good twang to it. It's definitely evil. Like it's harsh in a Heather's.
Yes, and
that way, like it's dark and fun and just about all the things that are wrong with us mentally.
Yeah,
trying to live with body image, trying to live with body type, trying to live with, people who cheat on you, people like all those things come into that movie. That movie's way ahead of its time.
It is.
I mean, it's also funny because there's giant holes in Goldie Hawn, and Meryl Streep's head's on backwards.
I love that movie. And then I remember watching it. I rented it from the video store like in 2008.
Video store, you're gonna date yourself, CJ.
Yeah, hey, I'm up there.
You're gonna date yourself, CJ. Video store. I worked at Blockbuster too. So.
Well, the thing is, I think my advantage is I started way too young. Like I was like way too young doing this stuff. So it's like 15 years. I was barely I've been doing that 15 years. I was barely 18 when people had been starting stuff in their 30s. Anyways, I remember watching Death Becomes Her, and I remember the part I rented it because I was like, I haven't seen this in a while. I remember watching it, and I instantly did not recognize him when I saw it. But when I saw Robert Zemeckis playing his own, when he plays the doctor, I was like, "That's Robert Zemeckis!" And that was like one of the first times where I was like, "I've seen him at the theater, and I didn't even recognize him." And I didn't know him like that. But now as I got older and I started seeing who I liked, what movies I liked,
that's a huge recognition when you start. One of the things. Now I'm going to ask you a question. You said you like Diane Keaton movies, but I'm going to preface this question. I have two questions I would ask anybody, if they're watching the show and they want to know if they want to get involved with Generation Movie and how I roll. So are you a person that prefers actors or do you prefer directors? Because I think when you're younger, you're focused on, for me, when I was younger, I focused on actors. Yeah. I liked Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. I liked all the action movies from the 80s. But you get to something like Predator, right? A perfect example. Another Schwarzenegger movie. We're talking Schwarzenegger tonight. Predator is a great movie, but it's a great movie because John McTiernan's directing it.
Yeah.
Right. And there's hallmarks of the John McTiernan style that are very incorporated in Predator and Die Hard. So for me, as I get older, I started I could care less who's in a movie unless it's like a major star. Like, look at Top Gun, Maverick coming out. Tom Cruise gets my vote because he goes 120.
Yeah.
Jumps off buildings, does all this other stuff we talked about. But most of the time, I'm looking for directors. I'm looking for how somebody going to tell a story. Like Jordan Peele. How somebody going to tell a story? Spielberg. I'm a Spielberg guy. I'm a Spielberg guy since day one.
Yeah.
So it's. How about you? What do you look at? What do you want? Do you want actors, or are you looking at? I want to. Who's my storyteller this week?
You took the words out of my mouth. Like, yeah, you're right. You're first into the actors, and then you go into directors. But it was an actor that got me into directors, which is Harold Ramis. That's when I was like, wow, Egon did this movie, and that was one of the first ones. And even our podcast Side by Side, our episode 2 is Harold Ramis, and we did Year One and Bedazzled because Bedazzled is one of my favorite movies. Well, I'm a big Brendan Fraser fan. But I'm like I said,
he's having a resurgence.
Yeah, right. He's back. And then, I'm a director myself. I'm seeing more how directors do things and the names. But there's a director that I've always loved, and I mean it's not this poster, but it's the Alien poster. But Aliens is James Cameron. One thing I I like about him is whenever you listen to an interview from his actors in his movie, they call him Jim, and
Yeah,
and it's always like, well, Jim likes his actors a certain way, and it's like you start finding out. I start finding out like James at Cameron. I mean, this is what things I've heard. I don't know if I don't know him, but like he doesn't really like actors. Like he's not an actor guy. Like he's
nope.
And the
That's
more
all true. If you go back and for anybody listening to the podcast or whatever, go and really study hard about the shoots for The Abyss
yes,
or the shoots for Avatar, the Avatar sequels. Read what we're getting an Avatar sequel in December. It's all about water. Reads up on what Kate Winslet has been doing.
okay, I'm gonna look that up. Yeah,
Kate Winslet's been. It's borderline torture to work with James Cameron. So,
yeah,
but like Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio is a great actress. Kind of all ties back because she's from The Color of Money, which is funny because we're talking about Cruise.
Tom
But Mary
Cruise.
Elizabeth Mastrantonio almost killed him on set. They
Okay,
had fights, him and Ed Harrison, because he was asking too much of the actors. He almost killed some of them. Like it was
yeah,
dangerous, and they had real problems with the underwater workings of the sets. They were
yeah,
giant. They were giant water tanks in Mexico that were built like they were already built, but they basically reestablished them for the movie, and they were super dangerous. And they a lot of dark stuff about James Cameron. I love Aliens, like the next person,
yeah,
T2, like the next person, but a lot of scary stuff
yeah, and
because he's very one focus.
and he's got to get his shot. And myself, I have an actor and a director brain, so I'm practicing both, so I can easily slide into both. And I forget when I'm on set with like somebody that's like, and I'm like, okay, I understand. And then I'm like, how is he not aware that it takes an actor this long a time to do this, or And then I realize, well, the actor had time to prepare, but I'm like, wait a minute, oh, we're all getting together. This is how we all do this. Okay, this is how it works. I just take it a little serious, or I don't take it serious in certain parts, or maybe I'm not too serious where I need to be. I'm just figuring it out. And but I hearing his story.
That's life.
Yeah, it's
Like
true.
taking things too seriously, or being part of being humorous, or having gallows humor. I'm a gallows humor guy. Like I'm a big gallows. I don't mean for it to be, but like I find dark stuff pretty funny. I'm kids in the hall kind of
Yeah,
mentality, right? But figuring out how that works with certain people and how it doesn't, it's a big to do. And I think one of the things when you look at actors and directors, and it's something you're working on, right, where you're trying to get a gauge on how exactly some actors are going to need more from you, and some directors are going to need more from you. Like it's a weird kind of place to be.
yeah. I just realized that we're about to hit an hour, and I could talk to you forever. This is
I
awesome.
try, CJ. I try
I do.
though. So
I guess we'll start slowing it down a little bit, but I do need to ask you for the show, and this is the purpose of the show. I like to ask the question, JW, what is your manic media? So, my manic media is a portion of the show where I ask the guest what do they use to unwind. If it's a medium like Lady McDermott likes to pick mushrooms and that's it outside. She likes to relax. Scott Meany likes to listen to vinyl records. While we have other people that I have that this day. Music has been the main trend I'm getting from the media, and I've been using a lot of music myself lately, and I'm falling in love with it. But that being said, what's your manic media? What do you like? Do you like
okay,
the
so I got two, and they're both games because I'm a big like in my mind I'm always trying to play games. I play a lot of games. So the two things I do to unwind, I play D&D with friends, right? And it's media in the sense that you're reading books, you're creating characters, you're doing all these things, and it's interactive with other people. The other thing I do to unwind, and this is at the end of the day, I have a role playing game that I play on my phone. I
okay?
shouldn't be on my media, but I am. And it's a Marvel game that I got sucked into really early, and now it's like part of my day. It's the only way I can shut down at night after I do everything I need to do for the following day.
Yeah,
Like there's a series of goals, a long list of goals, and I find that if I can get through all the goals, I can put the phone down and kind of just be, okay, it
Yeah.
resets tomorrow, and
Yeah.
it's a weird. It's like it's very tense because I'm trying to do different things, build characters up, and it's a Marvel game, so it's like there are more characters than there needs to be.
Yeah.
But it's something I play every night. It's Marvel Strike Force.
I know
If
what
they
you're
want
talking
to send
about.
me free
I
stuff,
know exactly what you're talking about.
but it's a game where I'm like, I find myself, house is dark, kids are quiet, wife's asleep, television's off, air conditioning's on, blankets are on, mask is on, trying to get to sleep because I have CPAP and all that other stuff. And it's the thing I'm doing right at the end to, if I can get everything done, I consider it like, and if I don't get it done, I feel like
Yeah.
you ever feel like you fail?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I wish
Totally.
I had gotten to that, and then you get up the next day, and like the same things are still there, but they wasn't done last night, so like some things get pushed back, and it it completely like when we're on vacation and stuff, I tend to lose track of it for a couple of days, and that makes me go crazy because I'm a Capricorn, everything's in order. But
Oh,
I need that 20 minutes to just shut my brain down and just be like, oh, we just need to do this and this,
yeah.
and just, but that's my
This would be.
wacky. And movies. I like my friend Ren, who passed away last year. We used to we would call each other on the phone as we're falling asleep, and we're both watching Star Wars. Not the good one, like not the great ones, right? But like Phantom Menace, anybody can fall asleep to that movie. And so like sometimes that like we'll put on a movie that has like I can't get out of Tatooine. If I'm watching
Yeah.
Phantom Menace, once we get to Anakin and the pod race, I am out.
Yeah. That'll do that.
It just like fighting with Watto and all that other crap that happens in Phantom. I lose. Like I just like I'm like, oh god, they're gonna get on the silver ship at some point. They're gonna go back and it's gonna be more exciting, or they're not, and it's
There you go. Yeah.
and I'm out. So those are my things.
Oh, that's good. Thank you for sharing that with me. Yeah, because I.
D&D, I love D&D. If you are a creative person, and if you look at all the people that are playing D&D, create Dungeons and Dragons right now, creatively around the world, like full on star list in Hollywood, playing a major game any night of the week in Hollywood. There's Vin Diesel, although, but Joe a bunch of people are playing, and
Yeah. No.
it is a great way to unwind, create characters, create stuff, and also work with others, and just get out there. And if you're a DM, it's creating a world is I'm not good at it. I've done it. I've tried to be good at it, and I'm just
Dungeon Master.
can't. I'm not good. I'm not
Yeah.
good. I'm a good player. I cannot because I can talk and I can figure out the best ways to do things.
Yeah.
But DM, although my players would say I was good, but they're lying.
I'll tell you this: it's so ironic that we're like this is where we end our conversation because my coworker, he's my age and he loves D&D, and I love that I can hold a conversation with him about it because I did it when I was a kid. But it's one of those things that I can't pick
Oh,
up
you should get
again.
back. You should
I
get
can't. I'll
back.
get. I won't leave. I won't leave.
Well, that's fine. But I'll give you an example. Like you should get back. And what I would also say to you is, it's a great mental way to get out there. But it's also one of the things that the reason I got back into it. I was into it when I was a kid, and then I got back into it about 8 or 9 years ago, back in PA before we moved. My little brother was into it, and he wanted to play, and he was doing poorly in math and reading in school.
Yeah.
And he was 10 or 11. He was doing poorly in math and reading, and the D&D books, building a character, having to worry about what hits what,
Yeah.
rolling dice, doing numbers, improved his
Memorizing.
grades.
Yeah, he's learning steps. That's awesome. D and
Yeah,
D, everybody, Dungeons and Dragons will help you learn. It does because it makes your
it makes
brain
you more
just
creative.
creative. It makes you stretch out. And the great thing about it is you're playing amongst people that want to play. So it's like improv. Like we talked. Like once I learned, and you said it earlier. You said improv could help you with your writing because once I learned to take that yes and putting it into my writing, because I would limit myself. I'd be like, oh, but then like I like this is how you write yourself in a corner. You start telling yourself something, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, we're at a restaurant, and then we get into the alley, and then we get caught in the alley, and they get us. Oh wait, I don't. And you just keep writing like that, and you're like, oh, why did I get caught? And then I just done that switch, and I'll just write. And then what happened? Well, then they ran out of the alley, and then where'd they go? And then they went to the car, and then they had a car chase, and I just start adding all this crazy shit, and all of a sudden I realize, well, I don't need all of it, but at least I have a lot of material now. So I like that, and with D&D, that's the same thing. I like that you're with people that want, like, improv is so fun because you're with people that want to improv with you. There's no one there to put you down. There's no one there. They're like, you're just creating a world. You're creating a time with each other.
Now, did you do long form or did you just do games? Because we did a combination of long form, which is telling long stories over series of times. Yeah, and then we also did a lot of the games, which, if you're a writer, if you want to learn how to write, answer people, like have people are having a conversation. You know, when you watch a conversation like in a Jim Jarmusch film, like Coffee and Cigarettes, right?
Yeah.
Where the dialogue is back and forth. It's a little bit improvised, but it's also it's moving. It's an entity unto itself. Improvisation will teach you how to do that.
Yeah.
Like yes, anding and going through the turmoil, walking through a thick thicket of thorny brush and getting where you need to go, right? Just figuring it out.
Yeah.
But that's D&D is a great. It's my one night a week where I hang out with a bunch of people and we have story time and we just I try not to die.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't care. I try to keep my characters alive. Almost died this week, CJ.
Oh, it is a big deal.
It was a rough week. It was a rough night on Saturday.
You lose everything.
I made a horrible mistake.
Well, I will tell you, you did remind me of something. I don't have to do long narrative on the D&D. I could do short because that's where I was always thinking, like, man, I don't have I don't have enough time to do it because it takes so much time to have a really good D&D.
Like the thing for you, getting back into it it'd be finding a bunch of people that you want to play with and you want to build something. Like the people I'm playing with right now, great group of people. I found them in an ad. Like it was a little bit like personal ad kind of thing. Like there's one game shop in our area, and I kind of went in. And I was like, I have a lot of dice, and I need a fix. And I ended up with this group, and it's it's a real talented group, and like they're very creative, and there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's something to focus on for 5 hours where you're not worrying about real life, and you can just build yourself, build what you want to be. I'm playing a druid right now. I don't really do magic characters that much, so it's
gonna be draining. It's gonna exhaust
you. Very
you.
special. He's got a big secret, CJ. So it's
no.
I can't talk about it. He's a very dangerous druid, but he's harboring horrible secrets, CJ.
Oh, he's the one poisoning the well at night when everyone's sleeping. That's what he's doing. Well, I won't
talk about that. I won't. It does have to do with sleeping, but anyway.
I didn't mean to. We'll edit that out real quick. I did see that. I did notice that Brandon and Joe wrote something earlier. Brandon says we're gonna have to have an all-pro wrestling talk show. JW, I'm a lifelong admirer of it too. Not as much as the last decade, but I still keep up with what's going on. Yeah,
last decade's been rough, but it's like there's also been some really good stuff. So Brandon. Sure, I watch at least. I don't really watch as much. Like I fast forward through a lot of it. Just want to get to the story segments. I just want to know how the story's going. It's like watching a soap when your mom when you come home and your mom's like sitting there in your home and you want a snack, but she's like fast forwarding through The Young and the Restless.
Yeah, just to
you know what I mean? Like need to get to the part where the husband finds out she's cheating. Same thing.
And then Joe said Jake the Snake was in the movie Peanut Butter Falcon. Great flick. Good flick. It was
underrated movie. Mental health. Great about just people. Be kind. Don't be a douche.
When I went to watch that movie, we went to go watch it, and we want the little like it was played at selective theaters here, so like the artsy theater, so everyone's kind of quiet.
Yeah,
Well, you've seen it, and you see the part
yeah.
where Mick Foley, when you get introduced to him, it shows the side of his head, and then it turns, and I'm looking at that no ear side of the head, and I'm like, I've seen that before. Where have I seen that? And all
Yeah.
of a sudden, you see the side of the face, and I could not help it. I do not know why
Mick
this
Foley.
Mick. Yeah, I said, "Oh my god!" Somebody, I go Mick Foley, and then somebody next to me goes like, "Oh, look down over there." And it's a full theater. And some guy goes, "Oh, fucking A, mankind!" And then some guy in the front goes, "Fucking Mick Foley!" And then all of us just go, and then we just shut up, shut up. We're like, "It's fucking Mick, it's mankind!"
Very exciting. It's very exciting. He's back.
We're like, yes. And
CJ,
then,
before we go though, I do have a question. But finish your story. But I have a question.
no, I was just gonna say when I ran into him at Big Texas Comic Con in 2019, and I had told him about that, and he goes, "Oh, they let me go wild in there. If you listen, I'm yelling in the background when Shia LaBeouf and the girl in the car. You can. They told me to make stuff up. I was making stuff up. But what you got? What's your question?
My question to you is, I can do a Rorschach test. So I've seen so many movies and I know so many movies. I usually ask if I'm like in a new situation, or I usually ask somebody what their favorite movie is. So what's your favorite movie? Movie you can't live without, CJ.
Okay.
Mine's on my shirt. I wear it on my shirt. I saw it when I was a kid. I was 7. My dad's theater. I saw it before everybody else because they had to do a test print. That was back when projectionists were building prints.
Yes.
They had to build it and they had to like splice it together. It came in big giant cans every Thursday night. So I saw it early. What's your favorite movie of all time, CJ?
So I'm happy you brought this up because I don't know why I prepared for that, but I have it kind of sucks the way I do it because I have like a 1 A B C, but there is a solid number 1, and I'll get there real quick. So okay, well, one of my favorite movies, I'll say 1C, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Nice. You actually have the posters.
Yeah.
This is good. Okay.
This is one of my favorite movies of all time. Not the fact that I look like Kumar or anything, but the fact that, especially like because watching it, I didn't realize how like this is unplugged movie. You just watch it, you unplug yourself. But also, it does a lot of stereotypes, which for the 2004, I'm still like, why are we still having these in 2020? So it's whatever. This movie's a little advanced.
But I think they do a good job of getting rid of the stereotypes. They make fun of the stereotypes.
No, that's what I'm saying. That was in 2004. I'm like, we still have them now. We shouldn't have them anymore. But I mean, people shouldn't be offended. But anyways, so Harold and Kumar, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's just a great unplugged movie. But my number 1B would be I Love You, Man. This is I think it's because it's a best friend movie, and even though I roll alone, and nowadays I roll with my 4-year-old, and he calls me his best friend, I still got my best friend back. But I love this movie.
You need somebody for Rush. You need somebody that you can go to a Rush concert.
Yeah, I need somebody to go to a Rush concert with. And but no, I love this movie because it not only shows that, I feel like in my life at one point I played both these guys, and I see the way they are, and I can relate to it. But I love the friendship. It's like I'm 38, and trying to make friends in your 30s is way harder than when you're teens or in your 20s. And I can only imagine like as you get older. But like I always think this is a great movie about a couple guys making friends in their 30s, which I thought was.
I feel friendship is a real. I'm in my 40s. I have my set group of friends, right? I've had them for a long time, and I feel making friends is a real. Like, it's not like a relationship with a significant other, right? It's more like you put yourself out there for a friendship. Like, I feel like I get more hurt in a friendship now than I could in a relationship with my wife.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like there are things you tell your friends. There are things that happen with friends that you cannot, like, you don't share with anybody else.
Yeah.
And so if you share it with somebody and they don't end up being your friend, I feel like there's a bigger chance of rejection, which is weird.
Yeah, it hurts you more. It's a different kind of innocence that you're exposing. Man, I don't know, just friendship movies in general. I'm a big fan. When I see best friends, I support them.
I Love You, Man and Role Models are in the same wheelhouse.
They are like that. And I'll even give you this. I have a side movie that I love, and I know
like
you're gonna
just a side movie you just see you see on the down low when the other movies are
Nah,
on your
I mean,
shelf, don't
I
know
love
about
this.
it.
I love this movie because it's right here, and oh, sorry. Oh, what
You're
did I
breaking
do?
stuff. What are you
Oh,
doing? You're connected. What are you doing?
no. I moved. There we go.
You're breaking stuff.
I like it happens. I like this movie because it is one of my favorite movies of all time, The Monster Squad, which I have all the signatures.
Oh,
So
love the Monster Squad.
I love this movie, and I think
I just showed the 4-year-old the Monster Squad.
and I'm finding out that it's not a bad deal because it's a what's his name, Steve Muck, the dad in the movie. He showed his son when he was a 4. He showed him when he was 4, and I told him my son wants to watch Jurassic Park, and he said Jurassic Park's a little bit more graphic. Monster Squad only really has like two kind of the werewolf blowing up and then Phoebe getting called the bitch, but outside of that, he's like it's an entertaining movie, and I was like you're right. So Monster Squad is kind of like one of my love movies, but my favorite all time movie.
You brought. Oh, wait, we got to talk about this really quick. You brought up Phoebe bitch thing. Do you know about the filming of that? So this is another thing where you pick up stuff as you get older. Have you ever heard about the filming of that sequence?
They didn't tell her.
Well, no, she had met the guy, right? She had met the person playing Dracula the day before. She had met him. She had interacted with him, right? So they're prepping her. This is the person that's gonna be in the scene. He's gonna be Dracula, but they didn't tell her about any of the other stuff. They didn't tell her about the fangs. They didn't tell her about the eyes. They didn't tell her about how aggressive he was gonna be, right? So that sequence where she's screaming her head off is a real 4-year-old reaction. It's a real reaction. It's one of the greatest kid sequences ever because she does not know that he's going to pick her up. She doesn't know that the fangs are going to come out and he's going to have the blood red eyes.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
No, you're absolutely right. And I no, that's right. That scene, the way they did it, it's a great reaction.
Terrifying.
But I went up when I was getting the signatures and talking to them. I asked what's his name's first name's Duncan, the vampire. Let's see, I got it right here. I want to say his name right. I asked, where is he at? Where are you at? Oh, Duncan Rigger. I asked him, can you do that for me? He goes, no, I don't want to. But I was like, can you just hold my face and call me a bitch? He's like, no. But my favorite movie of all time, by far, and I can tell you why it is, and I always tell you why I love it. And I'm actually, as we wind down, this is the end. I want to know what you know about. I know you're gonna know a lot about it. But drum roll, please. And one thing I want to say about Generation movie is, I was born in 1984. I do have a hard time knowing movies that were before me. So
Interesting. Okay.
I do, and I'm noticing with other people because I do have a lot of colleagues that are younger, and we'll be talking movies, and they'll be like, "Well, I was born in '99," and I was like, "Well, this movie came out in '97." They're like, "Oh, I didn't know," and I was like, "I didn't know about that," but it's something about it. It's harder for me to remember.
So you do that. I can tell you what movies opened any particular summer.
So
So I can tell you, like, I'll give you just an example. Like, we're talking about Top Gun. Top Gun's come up tonight, right? Maverick's opening 36 years. So Top Gun was summer of 86. 86 was also Aliens. 86 was also The Fly. 86 was also Cobra. So
this is
just,
trippy. This is so trippy because this
yeah,
movie,
I can do everything based on either Oscars or box office of any given year.
Oh man, I'll
And
tell
it
you
goes
this.
back. That goes back almost all the way to the 70s. That I
So
can
check
do
this
it
out.
without beating an eye.
My favorite movie is from 1986, and I think it's ranked number 15 on the list.
Oh, interesting.
Something on there. I think it's like number 15, 14. But yeah, this my favorite movie is from 1986, and I've talked about this a lot. It is 1986's Transformers the movie, animated. This movie by me,
That movie scars people. That's a
because it
so
kills.
wait. So okay. So you saw a movie from. So you're when were you born? You were born in 84.
So I did not watch this in the theater. Well, I
And you
have
weren't
seen
in the
it.
theater, but you've seen. Well, of course you've seen it in the theater. But
I've seen it in the theater, but not when I
so
was a kid.
okay. So you love classic characters and you like classic stuff, but you also like unimaginable pain. You're a
You pick
pain
it.
guy. You like pain.
That's what it.
This is one of the worst deaths ever put on film.
And I gotta say,
This is a terrible death. This is
uh,
a brutal, horrible, no good, very bad death.
And that's cool. You're like, it's so great. Like, I got chills, goosebumps by that because I'm like, oh, you're starting to really. You're one of like from movies. You're picking me like how I am, and so that death scene
Yeah,
actually
but
helped.
that
I mean, also I started off with stand up comedy, and it's like, yeah, this is like yeah, it's like one of the worst things to do if you need to build up if you need self confidence and self esteem. You can't. It's gonna stand up's gonna break it, but it's usually somewhat pain. But the thing I love about it is when Optimus Prime dies. Spoiler alert.
spoiler alert.
Um,
Yeah, because
uh,
if you haven't seen it, but to be
yeah,
honest, we're 36 years after the fact. If that's on you.
yeah.
We're at
So
this point, it's on you.
it's on you. So the thing about that death is it was important to me because my parents were always working, so they were never. My mom's even till now she's always working. My mom like loves working. She's like, I'm like, what's your hobby? Work. What do you do for work? I work. We gotta work. Hey, let's work. Let's go do it. Work. I'm like, all right, mom, I get it. You're from Mexico, nah. But but she was always like that. So a lot of times I'll spend a majority of my brother too. We spend that time with my aunt Sylvia. My aunt Sylvia was on the spectrum, so I would say she's special needs. So with her, we'd watch a lot of movies. I'd go to watch. I watched every movie like that was at the theater. I'd watch like I just go with her all day. We watch. We had a little video store called Mr. Green's Video, and we just go rent movies. She liked. Do you remember those two buff twins? Do you remember those two?
Yes, the Barbarian Brothers.
The Barbarian Brothers. Another thing from Conan. She loved those guys. So I've watched all their
They're funny.
movies.
They did a bunch of really dopey, fun movies.
And they're good movies. Now I think about how to make a
They're not
movie.
bad. They're not bad. They're
not
well done.
bad. So what happened was in '94 when she passed, I was kind of a
Rest in peace.
yeah. Thank you. And when she passed, I was like in fourth grade, and I was like, what the hell? What's going on? But then I remember being at Walmart and being kind of like Debbie or Bob Bummer, and my aunt. I can't remember if it was my tia Cello or my tia Ethel, but she was like, I was looking at the movie. I had the movie in my hand, the VHS, and she goes, "You want to buy it? It's only like $5. Get it. I'll get it for you." I got it. I watched it, and I saw the death scene again, and I remember seeing it, and I remember being like, "Oh, that's passing. That's the passing of someone. That's the passing of a loved one, a main person." And it's okay because what happens is whenever the main person dies, then you see the ones like Hot Rod and Cup, Springer, RC, Blur, Ultra Magnus, what do you call it? Preceptor. They all step it up. Grimlock. They all have to step it up because they have to take care of this kid, Daniel.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, to me, it just seems like I was like, oh, I lost something, but I'm supposed to be aware that there are other people here to help me. So I've always tied it. But recently I had when my I had a friend, I had a father friend. I'm sorry, one of my best childhood. I'm trying to say this right. One of my childhood's best friends' father passed away in 2020, and it crushed me. Like I was like, oh, it's one of my dads, and but I put this movie on, and it just kind of I watched it from beginning to end. And it helped me get. I mean, I was already 36.
That's a really interesting. When you're that young and you actually have that kind of like empathetic, compassionate response to a movie, it's rare, but that movie is strong enough to elicit those kind of like.
Yeah.
It's one of the great things about movies. Some movies really can elicit better humanity in us.
Yeah, and that's what, and I never thought about like we talked about earlier, like you get to know a director, you get to love, you're like, well, how did they get here? What's this? And I have the whole. I like tried to be too emo, but I got the emo thing on me, and it is what it is, and I like try to, if I could work with it, I work with it. If I can't, I can't. But I like to just keep going, and it's a thing. But but being aware of things and being aware that these movies there's some kind of, they're all friendship. There's two of them friendship movies, two of them are adventure movies. Two of them are comedy. One's a sci-fi animated. It's kind of those are my three. But the number one is the Transformers, and I'll share this with you real quick because we'll end it like this. But to talk about something from the past. I had an audition this past weekend, and just you're doing okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right. So I had an audition this past weekend for a sketch comedy. They're holding auditions. And I knew about it like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I knew about this interview I was going to do a couple months ago, but I didn't know they fell on the same day. And it just so happened that I did the interview, and then I went and did the audition, and I didn't care that if I did well or not because the interview was pretty cool. And that interview happened to be the one and only, the lovable, the great I'm just gonna show you who it was.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
How you doing, Henry?
I'm so good. Where
I,
are you?
I'm in Austin, Texas.
I was just there.
Oh,
Nice.
The Fonz. I got to hang out with him for 4
That's
minutes.
clutch. Well,
Dude,
he's more Gene Cousineau right now.
Yeah, and
He's more Gene Cousineau than he is the Fonz.
and then talking to him, yeah, and then getting that deal. He just because I met him in 2019, and it was such a great conversation, such a soulful, like an honest conversation with somebody. And then he said, when he was just giving me advice, he's basically like, just do the damn audition, like just do it, just go in and have fun. So I thought that was cool.
Well,
But
he's actually one of the most widely regarded. Everybody, I think he was just on James Corden's show. Everybody has a good story about Henry Winkler.
oh yeah, dude.
Everybody that's in the business seems to have a great Henry Winkler story.
Yeah,
So congratulations. That's a knockout. That's a knockout interview.
yeah.
We're just gonna be talking about Conan on Wednesday.
Hey, I'm there for you. I mean, it's funny. I recently I had to get my Conan fixed, and I recently was like, I need to watch this. It's even Red Sonja. We get started, but I mean, like, there are just so many great movies out there. But JW, I'm glad you were here to hang out with me tonight. I'm looking forward to your show on Wednesday. Welcome to the network. I'm happy you're part of us, man. You have so much experience and knowledge to bring with us. It's so great to.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It was a blast. It was good to get to know you. Transformers the movie. Haven't had Transformers the movie in a while.
Yeah, it's
my Rorschach test. I can tell you're a decent human based on what movie you like.
Oh wow!
Like, I would definitely avoid people that like or like. You gotta pick and choose. You gotta figure it out.
I'm sorry. Which movie you said it?
Mommy Dearest. It was a joke.
Oh, Mommy Dearest.
Yeah, they're big Joan Crawford fans. They're always very aggressive people. Like,
I'm from the background of like the Scarface guys and then like Wolf of Wall Street guys that get cocky. I don't those movies. I'm like, okay, they're all right, but I mean, I haven't seen Wolf of Wall Street yet. I'm gonna watch it soon, but it's kind of like the ego
Scarface is an interesting. Scarface was overly dark. Like, it's really funny when they remade a lot of the gangster movies from the 40s. In the 80s, they went hyper aggressive, hyper violent. And like I think the interesting thing about Scarface is it's so widely regarded among rappers and people in the hip hop industry, and it's arguably Al Pacino's worst performance. Like, you could get.
Holy crap! That's actually a good point. If you compare Al Pacino to Al Pacino, that's a good point. Wow.
Even in Godfather 3, which is a terrible sequel, the performance in Godfather 3 is better than the performance of Scarface. You put Serpico up against Scarface. You put any of the great Pacino movies, even Son of a Woman, where he's chewing on scenery. Scarface is a bland caricature, but like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy the movie. The idea that a guy's snorting a big pile of blow and shooting a bunch of places. Sure, I guess I'm not going to do it in my life, so
well, yeah.
I watch somebody else do it. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
My dad, when that movie played at his theater in Monticello, New York, my dad's favorite thing was they had to pick out. It had a Universal when that movie came out said you have to have a intermission. You have to find a place to cut the movie and that would be where the intermission is. So you have to have an intermission. You have to start the show at 6:00, right? And you have to have an intermission for like 20 minutes, and because it's too big to fit on the reels and all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So my dad picked the sequence at the end where right after Tony goes to the rise and it's just the world is yours, is spinning, right? And then it goes to a fade. My dad picked that sequence. And when we watched it on VHS, when we rented it, like 3 years later, whenever it came out, that's where the two cassettes were.
Oh, he picked the right spot.
Yeah, he picked the exact right spot. It was one of those things he was super excited about, like a weird movie theater manager thing. Like, I picked the exact spot where they did it on the video. stupid. It was crazy.
You know, yeah, we're about to go, but I want to share you something because the more I hear you talk about that, that's gotta be so cool. You're being raised like that. Like I'm like, well, at 15, I started drinking at bars, so I have I could be a stand-up real easy because I can hang out at a bar all day. But you know,
I
like
didn't
that,
drive. I didn't drive till I was 22.
oh wow.
I didn't seriously become an alcoholic until. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't seriously drink heavily. I think I drank like twice in high school, and then when college came, I got really good at that at the University of Scranton. But yeah, I watched a lot of movies. I was much more apt to. On a Friday night, you'd find me in a theater watching The Guardian, as opposed to out trying to drink in the middle of nowhere with
Yeah.
people in a keg.
I was always upset. Sorry, I'm looking for this photo real quick I want to share with you. I was always upset that I never got hired to work at the movie theater because I was like, I'm a movie guy. But then I took it as like they didn't want me around. But then I was like, whatever, I'll go make my own movies. It's like, but I thought I had a photo here, but I don't. I have a photo of my son. I take him to the theater. I wanted to share it with you, but it's getting late because I wanted to say like he does enjoy the theater. He likes getting on stage. He likes being an actor and doing all that. So I just embrace it, and it's like pretty cool because I feel like I'm giving him behind the scenes a little bit of looking of like what it takes to be the performer and not just
Hard work. It's a hard job.
To not just be like a person that wants to be in front of a camera or wants attention. Like how to it is actual bring a performance. But I'm gonna let you go, JW. It was great having you on. I'm just gonna end the episode because it's just I feel like next time I have you on and we talk, we'll just pick up right where we left off.
Absolutely.
So we'll promote
Nice
your show.
talking to you, CJ.
Nice talking to you. You know, we're promoting
Show on
that.
Wednesday. Come in. Yeah, it's gonna be big. Generation movie premieres. Get to see the exclusive. Somebody created a huge music video for us, kind of thing.
Awesome.
It's gonna be super cool. And Rich Dries, if you think like Rich Dries is like he's my Siskel to my Ebert. He is super smart, knows a lot about movies in similar vein. He's a catalog like I am, so it's like we're putting it together, and we're excited about the Indie Escape Network.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, everybody, we're logging off. Well, everybody, have a good night, and thank you for coming on the show.